Supreme Verdict on their own. You've got your Unflinching Courage, Pillar of Flame against aggro, Rest in Peace against Reanimator. Just like very, it's diversified, but all the cards have a very narrow purpose.
Yeah, very specific in their applications. No, I think Pillar of Flame is going to come in here for Cross. I also, Rest in Peace is this card that's really good against Junk Aristocrats. The question is it actually good against Sacher's deck and his version of it's like an Aristocrat-esque deck?
I don't know. It does shut down Xanthar Necromancer, it does shut down Lingering Souls, shuts down Doom Traveler, and it shuts down Blood Artist. But you can just kill your champion, Parrish. Something else worth noting is that I was pretty high on these sort of sweepers, these bonfires, these blasphemous acts, the Thundermaw Hellkites. The Thundermaw Hellkite still sticks, but Xanthar Necromancer is a card that we've just kind of forgotten is in AJ's deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really sweeper through that guy.
No.
Not really, Bonfire, okay, you tapped my team, I've got a bunch of 2/2s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so
makes him one of the few cards that actually makes Bonfire obsolete against an aggro deck, which is actually pretty hard to do. So,
yeah.
That's pretty nice. We take a look at Sacher's sideboard here. 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Lifebane Zombie, 2 Sin Collector, 2 Intangible Virtue, 1 Brave Elements, 2 Doomblade, 2 Profit Loss, 1 Obsidian, Ghost Council, and 2 copies of Appetite for Brains. The one that jumps out to me is the 2 copies of Lifebane Zombie.
Oh, yeah. What jumped out to me, 2 copies of Appetite for Brains.
Okay.
Especially because Blasphemous Act was one of the sweepers in Joshua's deck. So it can take a sweeper, it can take a Thundermaw, it can take Huntmaster, Aurelia, Gorkline Rampager. It's not amazing. Maybe you only want 1, but 1 or 2 is the right number.
Yeah.
And that's why AJ, I'm assuming that's why he plays them.
Yeah, only has a couple in his sideboard. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think those are going to come in. And those 4 cards for disruption spells are actually pretty nice to have. And then the rest of his sideboard,
Doomblade as well.
Yeah, I kind of like that. How much again does he want to dilute his deck? Because his deck is a big ball of synergy. So how much of it can you take out and add these cards in?
Well, can we upgrade these Tragic Slips?
That's a good question. I mean, he can control Tragic Slips pretty well, to be fair.
And how do the creatures line up for Brave the Elements? I'm looking. Seeing, I don't know how well Brave the Elements actually works against this guy. They might be able to, falter most of the guy, but not all. So we'll see if that actually is enough.
Yeah. See if he's gonna board it in.
Actually, it does. You do name red. It does counter all these sweepers.
Yeah, that's actually a big deal.
Yeah.
His deck incidentally, is good against Bonfire of the Damned and Blasphemous Act because of Brave the Elements and the Necromancer.
Yeah, yep. I don't think Blood Artist is necessarily. This isn't like the Zombies deck where you'd Bonfire them and they just be like, okay, I'll get back Messenger. You lose 2. You've already taken 10, and Blood Artist does 1,000,000 to you. That was a deck where Bonfire was actively bad against it. This deck, it's a little bit of value when getting Bonfire, but it still feels bad. Looks like AJ's mulling to 6, and Josh kept to 7. So we did see AJ battle pretty hard on a Moldified earlier.
Yeah, against Bad Hexproof when he was playing for top 8. Gave it a good shot. It didn't hurt the Bad Hexproof's draw that game after its initial 7 was not the best, but he did battle as hard as he could. So we'll see what a Mold of 6, and he is on the draw this game, so can kind of undo it with that quote free card there.
Yeah, these cards are also mostly worth more than a single card.
Yeah, I agree.
So AJ looking at his 6.
Is he happy?
Yeah,
he's happy enough. So
that shoulder swagger, he's happy.
Yeah, I played with him. I played with him in Providence. Look, man, I'm used to the shoulder swagger. He's gonna play a Doom Traveler best turn back. The shoulder swagger is mostly because he has a horrible back. He can't find a good position to sit in a chair, but it looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
So Josh Cross has an Aberson's Pilgrim show up a turn late against AJ Sacher's Doom Traveler. AJ flipping his cards in a Kibler-esque fashion.
No one does it like Brian. Brian, if you're watching, Ari, sorry. He didn't mean that. No one does it like you, man. Nobody.
Gertella Aristocrat joins the Doom Traveler. Josh opting not to block. Very clear decision.
Yeah. They go down to 19.
Yeah, and now Josh is he only has a Scavenging Ooze this turn. No
lands. Okay, and he kept his 7 cards. Makes you wonder what he had over there. See a Sorin in AJ's hand. Looks like he might have a 3rd land as well. Delicious pen in his mouth.
Have you ever had one of those explode in your mouth while you're doing that? It's terrible. Tastes awful.
Yeah, I have actually. It's not good. It's really not good. I also put my pen in my mouth like that when I play a lot. Yeah. It just doesn't do anything.
It's always those Pez pens too. Those are the ones that always explode. The back just pops off.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's a swamp. He's just going to pass the turn back. So no real action from Sacher. He's going to try to slip that Aberson's Pilgrim in at Cross's upkeep.
timing like that, such that Cross doesn't get to use the mana to eat the Pilgrim on end step with Scavenging
Yep,
Ooze.
I like that play a lot. Got to learn how to play around Scavenging Ooze now. Fortunately for Sacher, he has a lot of experience doing that because he plays a lot of Legacy.
Yeah.
And he plays a lot of blue decks, which Scavenging Ooze is actually pretty good against.
Yeah.
So, learning how to play around Scavenging Ooze is something I think everyone's going to learn over the next couple of months.
Looks like there's a Rootbound Crag, so some of Josh's mana issues have been solved.
Yep.
He can play a Domery Red, it looks like, and plus it. I kind of like that, especially because AJ has at most the ability to attack for 3 next turn, unless he boarded an Intangible Virtue.
Yep.
So that Domery's going to live, even if the Scavenging Ooze dies.
And, okay, so Scavenging Ooze is going to turn sideways, representing a Gore Clan Rampager?
Potentially.
Or just potentially just making it a 3/3?
Yeah, so AJ could have sacked the Doom Traveler and blocked. The second Scavenging Ooze is going to join the first. So if he had sacked the Doom Traveler, made the Aristocrat pro green and double blocked it, he could have taken it down. But he just figured, odds of a Rampager is a little too high here.
And I mean, odds are just like something going wrong, right? It's kind of like an uncomfortable feeling. If he sends in there, it's like I have to lose like the front half of my Doom Traveler.
Actually, the Doom Traveler goes to the graveyard. Another counter for Scavenging Ooze. Not going to work.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Makes perfect sense.
Wow.
Quick update. We were wrong. Actually, you were wrong.
What?
Okay, all right, I was wrong. Richard win, mono green, moving on. Defeats Joshua Everly in his white weenie deck, 2-0. So he's going to be moving on and playing the winner of this match between Sacher and Cross, as Sacher is going to play a Sorin Lord of Innistrad, make a Vampire, and pass the turn.
One counter on one of these Scavenging Oozes, eating that Avernus Pilgrim that was Tragic Slip. Josh draws his 5-drop. His hand's a little glutted. We're approaching the point where he's capable of Blasphemous acting, but AJ's got a pretty resilient board. The Aristocrat won't die, the Sorin won't die, and the Traveler doesn't die, so these Blasphemous acts are not looking pretty right here.
Yeah, it looks like Cross drew it. It looks like he has, because he drew that Thunderbolt Hook. It looks like he has Unflinching Courage in his hand.
Right. So he's going to make a 5-5. He's going to crash in with his 5-5 Lifelink Ooze. AJ can block with the Cartel Aristocrat, sacrifice the Doom Traveler, save his Sorin at 1 counter. Her can just let the Sorin die if he wants to keep the Doom Traveler on the front half. Really his decision.
Yeah, I mean, the way you can look at it for AJ is that was a mighty expensive 1/1 lifelinker I just put into play to let Sorin die, but it also did kind of fog for the turn.
Yeah. If he sacrifices the Doom Traveler, it's not as resilient to a sweeper, but at the same time he gets another Vampire token out of it. And another free combat step from not getting bashed in the face with this Unflinching Courage. Though it does fuel the use one more.
Alright, so we're going to see some blocks here from Sacher. Looks like he does care.
Oh.
He does care about this.
He might be double blocking so that he can get a Sorin emblem.
Okay. He's going to sacrifice this. Doom Traveler, give this guy protection.
Sorin's going to live at 2 counters.
Emblem's going to make it so he can actually fight pretty well. Alright, so down to 2. Yeah, looks like that's exactly what he's doing. And of course, Cross going to gain 5 life here.
Yeah. Even with only a couple lands in play, this 9 deck has a lot of range. Scavenging Ooze does a lot of work.
Yeah. It's a good addition to the deck. Sacher going to draw a card. He has another Sorin in his hand too, so Sacher could do something along the lines of like making Emblem play another Sorin, and then maybe make an Emblem or make another Vampire.
Yeah, it looks like he has Lingering Souls in hand. He's probably waiting for that 5th land so he can play it, then immediately flashback it and not get oozed.
Yeah, I mean the tough part, right, is with Lingering Souls in his deck. I mean, he knows he's playing against a deck. He knows he's playing against a deck that has both Bonfire the Damned and Blasphemous Axe. So while Lingering Souls is a good card, and the deck also has Thundermaw Hellkite too. So Lingering Souls, while good, is not great in this matchup at all.
Looks like AJ's considering firing off a Lingering Souls, make 2 2/1s.
Okay.
Force Cross uses limited mana on that next turn.
Okay.
3 Spirit tokens for AJ, and a Cartel Aristocrat. Facing off against Scavenging Ooze and another Scavenging Ooze with a counter and a Courage.
You see Cross's hand. He slides that Bonfire the Damned to the front. Cartel Aristocrat feeling frisky. Coming in.
Update on the back table. Acevedo and Boswell going to Game 3 of the Jund Mirror already.
Yep.
Who would have thought that this is the slow matchup? We had a blue-white-red sort of control deck versus John. We had 2 mid-range decks battling each other, and now we're just like, we're going to battle a relatively aggressive deck versus a deck that can be aggressive. So Bonfire's going to come in. Stuff's going to get sacked to Aristocrat, but all the tokens are going to die. That's the important part.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think AJ's line of thought here is like, yes, he could Scavenging Ooze my my Lingering Souls, but if he thinks that Cross has a Bonfire of the Damned in his hand, he's trying to induce the Bonfire so that like his future Lingering Souls are actually going to be good. As you see him draw a Cartel Aristocrat, so he can actually go Cartel Aristocrat, flashback Lingering Souls this turn, and still get in, which again I kind of like, because he has to get past Bonfire at one point.
Right. Well, the other thing too is that by making him spend all of his mana on Bonfire that turn, he didn't effectively kill 2 Souls tokens with the Scavenging. So he really only got 1 Spirit. Spirits were out of the way temporarily, but only one of them. He still has 2 tokens instead of just 3.
Cross drawing his card pretty quickly to his hand there again. When you play Bonfire in your deck, just something to be cognizant of. Just be careful when you draw that card to your hand. And it's like a real thing. Jerry Thompson writes about it all the time. He's like, the reason I don't play Terminus is because I draw my card in my hand every time, and I'm just gonna get mad the one time like I need to peel Terminus and I don't miracle it and all that stuff. It's something you actually have to practice doing. Is drawing a card when you have miracles in your deck.
So we're gonna Pillar of Flame this Cartel Aristocrat. AJ considering his options. Sacrificing a creature to give that pro red, make sure that it's going to live. He probably wants to keep it around, but it makes these blocks and Scavenging Ooze much worse. AJ had 11 life. Cross had some astronomical number effectively with this Unflinching Courage and some tokens coming down off the some counters coming down off the Ooze triggers. AJ's going to really have to stabilize this board in order to win this game. He can't. There's no way he's going to erase this Unflinching Courage. And I guess you could draw a Doomblade here. That would be probably one of his best outs.
Yeah, I mean, that would be step 1 to getting out from this situation. Again, as you mentioned, Cross, for being so land light, having 3 lands, is operating just fine.
Probably has a bunch of 5-drops, doesn't care. Cross attacking. Looking at his hand. What is he? Looking at his deck, there's a lot of 4s. A lot of 5s.
Yeah. It's mana-intensive deck. He only has 24 lands. So he does have, of course, the 4 Absence Pilgrims, so he does have a little bit of mana acceleration there. 28 mana sources in his deck, but this is a deck that, needs 4 lands to truly be able to operate, even though he is operating pretty well right now with just 3.
Yeah. Though, if you count Gorkland Rampager, he only has 9 spells that he can't cast off this many lands. So, again, this flexibility, it's something that's really important in these mid-range decks. AJ considering his blocks. I think he's likely just to take it.
It's a tough situation, right? Like, he wants to get that thing off the board. He has to account for some more activations off of the Ooze, and of course he does have that. He does have the Sorin emblem right now, so his creatures are a little bit bigger.
Double block with the 2 Aristocrats, trades the Spirit token and an Aristocrat for the Ooze. But if he has a Rampager, that's game. More or less game, I guess.
I mean, it's going to be very, very good.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sacher, decisions. He is a thinker, trust me.
Yeah, he's actually 1 short of triple blocking down the Ooze if there's a Rampager involved here.
Yep.
So, 2 Aristocrats stepping in front, Spirit stepping in front. Not really a huge difference between those blocks.
Yeah, it's kind of like a why not with the Spirit token.
Exactly.
Like, there's the opportunity, I think, for Cross to order blockers incorrectly.
Yeah, exactly.
This way. Now he's going to order blockers this way. With the upside down one is the one that does have pro red from a Cartel Aristocrat activation, sacrificing a Spirit earlier in response to Pillar of Flame. So now it looks like Sacher's going to activate another Cartel Aristocrat, maybe. Sacrificing a Spirit, he's not sure.
The interesting here is that Josh Cross can just pass with the mana up. If AJ sacrifices, then Josh has the Rampager, he can just fire it off. AJ might be thinking that Josh is trying to milk him for some value here on that, which I highly doubt. But okay, here we go. AJ's thought it through, realizes that there's no way Josh is going to slow roll a Rampager into this situation. So Aristocrat's going to die. AJ is going to have just an Aristocrat, but he's going to have taken down that Unflinching Courage. But Josh now has another Scavenging Ooze in play. It's going to be a 4/4 and a 4th land. And a Domri red. Going up to 4 counters on that top of his deck. Not a creature. Does that mean it's a land?
Yeah, that's bad. Like, if that's not a creature, that means that it's like either a land or one of his awesome spells, and that's terrifying if you're Sacher because, I mean, obviously he doesn't know his hand, but we know he's a Thundermaw Hellkite. So that's bad news. And the other thing to keep in mind, too, Ari, is that, you know, while all this has been transpiring, AJ's at 10. Doesn't seem like he's that low, but he's actually at 10, and Cross at 26. So AJ's got a long way to go if he wants to win this game.
Yeah. AJ's, he fought the valiant fight, and then the life totals just kind of came out really awkwardly for him.
He's got such a long way to go to try to get back in this one.
Orzhov Guildgate in AJ's hand.
Wah, wah, wah.
Always makes me smile.
Yeah.
Especially with that Lingering Souls.
2 mana.
4
Make
mana.
it 4.
Another Sorin. Do we see an emblem and attack into Domri potentially? Or do we see a vampire?
I think you got to see a vampire here.
Okay. 2-1 vampire. Teams up with the aristocrat to make something that can block down the ooze. Though, this aristocrat might get it.
I mean, this is kind of like a free attack, right? Because it's a 3-1. He can pressure the Domri. If Cross wants to block the Scavenging Ooze, he just sacrifices the token, gives the guy Pro-Green, and then Cartel Aristocrat ends up eating the Scavenging Ooze. So, it's basically, do I want to kill Scavenging Ooze, or do I want to put Domri down to 1, or do I just want to hold back on defense?
Yeah. If you hold back on defense, there's not really a good attack that Cross has, even with a Rampager here. Though
So-
Thundermaw, that's
Yeah.
a different story.
Quick update for you guys. Our 5 versus 4 seed, we have Andrew Boswell playing Jund defeats Daniel Acevedo playing Jund. So the 4 seed is going to win. The person with the higher seed means they got to play first. And we've had a feeling that may happen. So Boswell is going to come and battle Ed Womble.
So Josh opts to trade away his Scavenging Ooze for the Vampire token, play the Thundermaw because he knew his top card was a land, and then fight down the Aristocrat, leaving AJ with nothing. 5 lands and 2 cards. And a Sorin emblem.
Yep.
The very important part of this, I guess. Lingering Souls comes down. Worth noting is that Josh does not have any Restoration Angels to combo with this dragon. So these are 4 2-1s. Josh peeking at the top card of his deck. What does he have? Is that a
It's a Boros Reckoner.
I was excited. I thought it was another dragon for a second.
Boros Reckoner go along with that Blasphemous Act and a Gore Clan Rampager in his hand, I believe. Yeah, more than happy to attack here. He's going to triple block his Sacher, and we're going to see Blood Rush on the Rampager, making that a 9/9. So he's going to be able to trample over for 6.
Yep. Something worth questioning is that I guess Josh might not want to run into a potential removal spell, but like Josh is at the point where because he did that, he's no longer in act range.
Sure.
So he's a mana short of just 13ing AJ. Though AJ's pretty far behind on board.
Yeah, AJ's far behind, and the only way that AJ can actually catch up to get back in the game is by putting creatures on the board because he's like this creature swarm deck. As you see, he's going to play a Necromancer, and he's just actually going to end up conceding the game. So, or excuse me, it was a Life Beam Zombie. Excuse me, it was a Life Beam Zombie to try to get information.
Yep, just want to know. Obviously that he's boarding it in, not obvious what you might have.
So, Joshua Cross is going to even it up with his Naya deck versus AJ Sacher playing Black-White Human. Sacher, because he has the 3rd seed, did get to play first game 1, and playing first in game 3 is super, super important.
Yes, especially if AJ can manage to start on Champion of the Parish. It seems like that's very easy for him to just sort of take a game away if he goes Champion Gather. He has a lot of nut draws in this deck that the previous builds have not had in the same capacity.
I do agree. You see both players looking over the sideboards yet again, figuring out what they want to do for this 3rd and final game.
Third and final game of the quarterfinals.
Yes. Again, for you guys wondering at home, we'll do a quick update of the brackets for you. When William Jensen defeated pretty handily by Ed Womble, flooding out game 1, getting stuck on mana game 2. So Womble, the 8 seed, defeats the 1 seed. Womble playing Jund. He's going to move on to play against Andrew Boswell playing Jund. Boswell, the 4 seed, able to defeat Daniel Acevedo, the 5 seed. So we'll have a battle of Womble and Boswell in the Jund Mirror in the semifinals. On the other side of the bracket, we have Richard Wynn dispatching Joshua Everly. Mono Green taking out White Weenie to Bruise. Wynn is going to play the winner of this match between Sacher and his White Black Humans deck, the 3 seed, versus Cross, your 6 seed, with the big Anaya.
Yeah, this is a deck that I've always liked since it first started popping up. I think Willie Edel was one of the progenitors of this deck. Like, it's just all good cards, and, you know, someone found a way to put them in the right ratios. You know, there's so many options with these Naya decks. Are you Thragtusk? Are you Silverheart? Are you Hellkite? Are you Huntmaster? Are you Resto Angel? What's your 4-drop? What's your 5-drop? What's your 3-drop? Do you have Reckoner? Do you not have Reckoner? How does that affect your mana? You're obviously playing Smiter. There's just so many questions to be asked. Are you playing Farseek? And it's just a matter of sort of tweaking it and tuning it and finding which cards are actually good. That's a very long process, and it looks like every so often someone tunes it right for that tournament, gets rewarded.
We'll see who's gonna. I mean, again, Naya's a deck where, like, outside of Willy Edel, it doesn't really have like a big following or anything like that. Willy having a lot of good finishes with that deck. Very, very happy with the build of that deck. Runner-up at a Grand Prix with that deck as well. But again, it's a deck that hasn't really had a lot of footing. A lot of people playing Jund Reanimator, playing Ban Hexproof, playing Red Green. Not a lot of people really actually playing Naya. We see Joshua Cross playing it here in the top 8. He was pretty dominant that game, even though he was stuck on mana.
I think the deck benefited a lot from the addition of Scavenging Use to the format. Not just because it has it in its deck to fight Reanimator, but because it just scares away the Reanimator players. It seems like Angel Serenity is a real big problem for this deck.
Yeah, really.
And the sort of removal of that from the format makes this deck much more appealing. You're still behind a John because of Rakdos' return, but you can still beat that. You can still beat Rakdos' return to Olivia with cards like Domurad, Boros, Reckoner. Your cards are good. They're not bad by any sort of stretch. So I think that this deck is on the rise.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That I do think this deck is on the rise. I think this is a deck that's going to see some more play. But I mean, what kind of cards do you think? Like, are there any other new cards that are going to see play in this deck besides Scavenging Ooze?
I have to think about that for a second. I think that one of the big things is that you're just going to have to adjust your sideboard much more heavily for Jund. Lockdown Smiter is pretty nice in that matchup, unless you sort of curve out and have a random creature in your hand, so when they return you and they're like, oh, I got you, you're just like, oh, Smiter, gain. I think that it makes you also want to, I mean, more down this line is just general with the deck. I think these Thunderbolt Hall cards are a really important decision for the deck.
Let's do it.
Because it makes you don't want to fight Jund on the Thragtusk terms. You definitely don't want to do that. M13 cards, or M14 cards, I'm not really seeing any off the top of my head that I can immediately think of that I'd want in this deck.
Sure.
Besides Ooze, but Ooze is a big one. Can you think of any?
No Chandra, no Garrick.
This might be a Chandra deck.
You think so?
Yeah, we're all sorceries. It's like the exact space. We're a ramp deck with sorceries. The only question is, does the mana support it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ooze is the obvious one, and maybe some sideboard card that I'm not really thinking of. No, you don't want the Hexproof guy. Mind Sparker, I don't think you want either.
No, I don't think either of those.
Fiend Slayer Paladin.
We already have Fiend Hunter.
Yeah, you already have Fiend Slayer. You already have Vanishing Priest. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, again, as you said, this deck is all high-quality cards, so I don't think there's going to be any major changes. I mean, certainly not a card like, even an older card like Aurelius Fury, where, that could play the role of, Bonfire, Blasphemous Act. You would think Aurelius Fury would be a really good card. I mean, certainly Evan Irwin did, and he was horrifically wrong about that, which caused him to get pied in the face by Brad Nelson. And since we're waiting for AJ Sacher to get done going to the bathroom, we might as well watch Evan get pied in the face by Brad Nelson. See, we call that a transition.
Oh,
that's what I call that. I'll teach you that. I'll teach you that one day.
That's how it works in the business?
We're going to watch Pie, and then AJ's going to get done going to the bathroom, and then we're going to watch who's going to win Game 3. So, Pie.
You say pie, I want pie, I want pie. So as all of you know, Evan is really bad at pie bets. Because just statistically, it seems like they're not going to do it. Why do you, I'll bet you. I'll bet you a pie. It's Fireball, it's Time Walk, it's Tap Your Guy, it's Tempo, it's everything. All right, I'm going to let you even up on the pie bet here.
No way this card is not constructed playable.
You think this is going to see constructed play?
Yes.
Is there a third pie bet on the line?
What? I make them. I don't actually expect to be pied at the end of them.
All right, but yeah, so we have 3 pies. What happened to the pie?
I was hungry.
Oh, man. All right, anyway.
We got 2.75 pies.
I won 3 pie bets against Mr. Evan Irwin, and I'm going to let my best friend Todd Anderson and my beautiful girlfriend Raelle throw the other 2 because I I don't feel like after one it's gonna feel that good, you know?
Go last.
Oh, you want to go? No, I get to go last.
I want to go last.
Fine, you can go last. Anyway,
Oh my
all right.
God.
So how do you want to do it?
How do I want to do it?
How do you want to do it?
Just
You wanna
go.
get
Just do it.
Thank you. How do you want to do this? Throw the pie! That's all I want you to do.
Was it delicious?
It's pretty good. Oh, that's a lot of pie. That's an extreme amount of pie. Oh, jeez. I can't even see myself. Gross. Oh, it's in my ear. Oh, God. Oh.
And you still have 2 more pie bets riding?
I got one. Maybe I shouldn't have made it.
The power of recorded video to fill time when someone goes to the bathroom. It's a very useful tool.
We can watch that forever now.
We can, and I will. And Evan, there's nothing you can do to stop us.
How many times are you going to show that next weekend in New Jersey, the Invitational?
Yeah, a couple of times, maybe all of the times. Who knows?
Yeah, just replace every advertisement with Evan getting tied in the face. Just create shorter and shorter clips of it.
Just rotating gifs. AJ
remixes.
AJ ready to go here. Gonna resolve some mulligan. You see Cross taking a look at his hand, as is Sacher. And again, third and final game of the quarterfinals here between Sacher and Cross. Winner of this match going to play against Richard Wynn and his mono green deck. We're going to find out who it's going to be, as Cross is taking a look at 6 cards and considering taking a mulligan to 5. That is one of the more reluctant keeps.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a double Buddy Landham, 2 Sun Petal Grows,
Yeah.
kind of slow, and he's also missing red mana.
He's-
AJ doesn't have a 1-drop though.
It looks like he has multiple copies of Hunt Match of the Fells, and his hand does Cross. So he's going to draw a card. He finds a Thunderbolt Hellkite. There's a Buddy Land in Sun Petal Grove. Going to pass the turn back. So gather the townsfolk. Going to give 2 Brad Nelson tokens.
Appropriate if it was Brad and Jerry, and then you get Todd, and you gather all the townsfolk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little things.
That's what matters in life.
Looks like AJ has an intangible virtue. That's his line for the game.
He's going to get
Attacking
beatdowns.
Yep. Attacking for 4, reminiscent of right when Gather the Townsfolk first came out.
Yep.
This was the beatdown card.
It's kind of funny that, like, as you see at Gemini Township and Scavenging Ooze, that Gather the Townsfolk is a card that a lot of people were talking about. Intangible Virtue, though, like, this was a big card when it got released, and this card was banned in Block Constructed, and it
Yeah.
hasn't found a home in Standard. It's
No,
really,
it really hasn't.
It's really surprising to me that it has just not had more of an impact.
Especially because Bonfire has been so, I mean, up until the very recent surge of John having 4, Bonfire has really kind of fallen out of favor for most of this entire format since last September.
Yeah, really surprising.
Yeah.
You see Sacher, he's gonna start here by attacking for 4 with his tokens.
Scavenging Ooze can jump in front and trade for 1.
No creatures in the graveyard.
Looks
There
like it
goes the
does.
Ooze.
Yep.
Okay.
Josh is trying to tread water until he can get to his 4th mana for his Hunt Masters.
Yeah, that's the big deal. Can he get to his 4th mana 1? But is his 4th mana gonna be a red 1?
And is it going to be untapped?
Yep. All those things do matter right now. So see if Sacher can add to his board a little bit. There's Champion of the Parish, and then a Lingering Souls. So he's done a nice job.
Yeah, the actual banned and block constructed combo. There's the untapped red mana. That's what we were looking for.
Not always there when you call, but always on time. It's a Sacred Foundry, and now a Hunt Master of the Fells.
Josh remaining at 14 life. Wolf token entering the battlefield. It's 1/1 champion of the parish. Probably going to hang out. Though AJ does have Doomblade Tragic Slip in hand.
Pretty good.
I think AJ is probably just going to attack with the tokens here.
Yeah, I mean, like, he can attack with the flyers and then flashback Lingering Souls, makes the Master of the Fells doesn't flip. Also, just get in there with his 2/2 human token that is Brad Nelson, and just if Cross wants to block with a wolf token, I think he's probably happy with that trade.
Yeah. Well, he's especially happy because it lets him turn his Tragic Slip into a real removal spell and save the Doomblade for a Hellkite.
Yep.
The Hellkite now won't take down a Souls, so you won't Morbid that. You'll have to block and use Souls tokens to Morbid that.
Yeah. I like all of those things. Also depends, what's in Sacher's hand besides that. He's gonna set his hand down.
I really thinking this one through.
Yeah, I mean, analyze the board state. No big rush. This is a crucial turn in this game, a big turning point, because now, Cross was having some mana troubles, but after he peels that Sacred Foundry, takes 2, gets himself back in the game. Now Sacher knows that he has to be aware of all the red cards that can be drawn. Also has to be wary of just a top deck Bonfire of the Damned ruining everything.
As always, Bonfire, the out.
Yeah, the fun police.
Yeah. You thought you were winning? Yeah, no, I decided to do that today.
Look, having an I win card in your deck is not a crime.
No,
it's
it's
actually
not.
It's actually very legal.
Yeah. I think Bonfire has definitely become more interesting this year because it's much less prevalent than it was. Makes it more of a special occurrence when it happens to you.
Well, I've been playing it for like a year and a half, so
And it never went away.
it has not gotten old, and it never will. No, I just can't. So Sacher, again, with Tragic Slip, Doomblade, and Plains in his hand, Lingering Souls in his graveyard, 2 Spirit tokens, Intangible Virtue, Champion of the Parish. He's got a board. He's got something to do in his graveyard. He's got some removal spells. So he's going to attack with the Vigilance creatures. Wolf going to get in front of Brad Nelson. They will trade.
Flashback Souls.
I mean, Sacher just might be in a situation here where he's just like, look, I have to hope that you don't Miracle Bonfire the Damned.
That's
is
a very good
super
hope.
important to me.
Very good hope.
Yeah. Gonna play a Plains. Is he going to cast Tragic Slip or not? He is not. So, Joshua Cross draws a card.
He may be hoping to, AJ may be hoping to induce a pass the turn on the Huntmaster, trying to get a flip and just blow him out with a Doomblade.
I mean,
Let's see. Another Huntmaster coming down for Josh. Wolf token coming into play. Looks like he has a 5th land finally. It's also another red for the Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yep.
Looks like he has Domri, and is that a Pillar Flame impact? Doesn't have very long to doesn't have very long on this one.
yeah, I mean, the problem is that he's got cards that can just turn the game around like almost immediately. There's a Pillar of Flame taking care of that Spirit token.
Yeah.
He has, again, Bonfire and Blasphemous Act just shift this game dramatically.
Yes. He's opting to pay 2 to Pillar Flame the Spirit, taking 2 now as opposed to 2 guaranteed and then maybe 2 more later.
Sacher, again, not playing a Doomblade or a Tragic Slip, which, again, I agree with. No reason to cast those cards yet.
Especially now that you're facing double Huntmaster.
Yep.
You have to consider whether you want to use them all. You also might want to be able to space them so that you can keep the Huntmasters from flipping. Josh down to 4, which means the Thundermaw Hellkite alone is not enough.
Yeah, and Sacher needs to cast a spell this turn so those Huntmasters don't flip.
Yes.
And Eradicate the Fells and shoot on 2 of those tokens. So he probably has to cast a Doomblade here. The question is he going to cast Doomblade plus Tragic Slip and kill both of these?
I like the... I don't know. I think he's just going to hold the Tragic Slip as a way to prevent the Huntmaster from flipping.
Me too.
He doesn't... I don't really know what... Is there?
Oh, made it
Didn't
through.
look like it. Didn't look like
He
it.
made it through part 1. It doesn't mean he made it through Blasphemous Act.
We made it through Act 2. Is that an Oblivion Ring? Okay. It's a thing. Keeps him alive a turn.
Oblivion Ring's actually not bad at all.
Yeah.
Oblivion Ring can take out Intangible Virtue.
Oh my gosh. And then it sets up the Thundermaw the next turn?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's actually not
wow.
bad at all.
That
Let's
was
see.
the one we were not counting on. Yep. Oblivion
Yeah.
Ring takes out the Virtue.
So there's your spell for the turn. All
Now
right.
does Josh fade it? He's got to miss a Sorin. He's got to miss a Virtue. He's got to miss a
Sacher
Profit Loss if AJ was...
draws a card. There's a Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. He's going to make an emblem right off the top, attack for lethal. Whew. And that is it. AJ Sacher wins the match. Cross shows him the Thunderbolt Hellkite. That is not going to get the job done. Black White Humans moving on, defeating Joshua Cross. Timely top deck, timely Planeswalker.
Wow, one good top deck deserves another.
Absolutely, it does. AJ Sacher moving along, fingers crossed, hoping to fade a Bonfire of the Damned and a Blast Sack the entire time. And he does. Richard, win. That is going to be your opponent.
Wow. That was a good game.
Very, very, very good game between those two players.
No real miracles, just ones that feel real.
Pretty good game there between them two. So, let's cut it back to the booth for you guys because we